Good morning, everybody.
All right.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, good morning.
Okay, excellent. I thought I would start a couple of minutes early just to say good morning, to make sure that we're all set to do another session. It's very nice to see so many familiar faces. We haven't seen each other for a little while, but it is great to be able to get together here. And hey, at least we can see each other. Lots of people joining now. I hope you're doing well despite everything. And I hope you've been able to put into practice some of the activities we saw last week or the week before. If anybody wants to share one of the activities that you've been able to put into practice, you can write it in your chat. Maybe say something that you found particularly interesting and that you've put into practice and that has been effective. Let's see. I've got my chat open. I'm just gonna say hello to everybody here. This is a session on technology, which is a bit scary for me because I do use technology. I like it. I think it's effective. I think it's a very interesting tool to use in teaching, but I am not an expert on technology. And when everything goes well, I love it. But when I get a question or something comes up and say, oh, yes or no, I say, oh my God, what do I say? Do I say yes? Do I say no? So I usually have to ask James, because he's the one who's really good into technology. I always say that I use technology, but he understands technology, and I don't, to be honest. But today I wanted to talk about Google Slides, because for the last few years, well, for many years, I've been using PowerPoint and other programs, also a smart notebook, Prezi. But for the last few years, I've been using Google Slides, and I really like it to plan and deliver lessons. Why? Because it's simple enough to use it easily, but it's got quite a lot of tricks to make your presentations effective and attractive. I say attractive because for me, the presentation has to be appealing to the eye. It has to be effective, but students have to find it attractive. I like Google Slides because I can access the slides wherever I am. I only need an internet connection. I can be in a hotel, in somebody else's house, at the school, at home, and I always have access to my presentations. I have access to my presentations on my mobile phone. Many times I go to conferences in Madrid, Barcelona, wherever, and the day before in the hotel, I'm going through the presentation on my iPhone. I don't work on the presentation here, but I can run through the presentation, which I find is very useful. I like it because it's very easy to share with other people. So I've got my presentation and I can share it with some of my teachers, for example. And I can share it with the teachers or with other people when I go to conferences again, and I can say, okay, you can view the presentation only, or you can edit it. Yeah, so I can give people different levels of power so that they can see it or work on it. So I think it's very, very effective. So what I'm going to do now, okay, I'm going to share my screen. I'm gonna close this. And obviously you need a Gmail account, but that's free, anybody can have one. And when you open your Gmail account, you have the dots here on the right. And if you click, you get different options. And one of them is presentations. That's the one we're going to look at today.
Sorry, Borja, you're sharing the wrong screen. You're sharing the Zoom screen.
Okay, okay. Thank you, James. Let me see. So I'm gonna try this again. Yes, I want to share this one. Okay, let's see if this, can you see Google on the screen now? Good. Okay, so you need a Gmail account, and here you have different options. Here where you have the dots, you have presentations, slides, presentaciones, yeah? So that's where everything begins. As you can see, I've got loads of presentations here for different lessons, activities. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the presentation that I'm going to be using this afternoon at 4 o'clock with my students. That way, you can really see what I'm going to do in class. And then I will show you how to do some of the tricks. But I think it's important that you see, you know, what a presentation looks like. And again, it's not that everybody has to do the same one like this one, but this is how I use it. You can see the slides. I've got loads of slides. And what I like is that some of the slides I keep throughout the year. And some of the slides I delete and I incorporate, create new slides for the new lesson. So for example, here I've got the link to my course book, to my digital course book. So that's always there. Yeah, I'm using this one, compact. So there are certain things that I want to have on the slide all the time. Another slide, I've got the calendar for the whole year with the different units. Again, this is a slide that I want to keep throughout the year because for me, it's a reference. So now I'm doing unit 10, which is right after Christmas, so that's great. This is another slide that I like to keep throughout the, well, for 2 or 3 weeks because this is my unit 10. I've just started unit 10. And here, what I did a few days ago, I broke up the unit into lessons. So today, this is the lesson I will be doing with my students. And then on Monday, I will be focusing on the listening. I'm gonna be doing more things, obviously. I'm gonna recycle first conditional and vocabulary, but Monday will be listening. That will be a main ingredient. Wednesday next week will be reading and writing. Monday the 27th, writing the story. Yeah. So this slide, for example, I like to keep it throughout the unit. So there are certain slides that I keep, I don't delete. Then I go through homework. This is to see who's done the different videos that I'm giving them for homework. And here is where the lesson begins. Yeah, as you can see before, I've got the slides for me as a reference. Then this is where the lesson begins. Now we're doing show and tell. The students are sending me videos, so I have this. We're doing first conditional, so this is the unit. And for example, this is what I did on Monday. Yeah, this is from the book. And this is how I like to present grammar or language. I like to use pictures, if possible, first. Elicit, what can you see? There are A2 students in this case. So things like, oh, in this picture, I can see, and they describe what they can see, what the people are doing. Then I introduce a little bit of language. As I did last week and the week before, I like to hide things to keep the students more engaged and elicit. What do you think number 1 is? What do you think number 2 is? Then I show them. Yeah. And then we look at the grammar. If plus, and lots of elicitation from the students. And then more examples. Yeah. This is what I did on Monday. If you eat too much, and the students were coming up with different options. And then, of course, they were making mistakes. They were using the present simple, or eventually, you know, they got the sentence right. And then I went to another slide. And I said, remember the structure. And again, picture first, elicit, and the students were able to come up with the idea and more or less the language. And if they didn't, I say, look, if, present, future. And a lot of things like showing slowly the picture, eliciting, maybe the idea, with that idea, can you make a sentence, help them a little bit? Yeah, like this. Later on, I will show you how to make the pictures come up like this or disappear one at a time. Another thing that I've got here later on, here I've got the slides, not for the whole unit, but almost. I spent about an hour a few days ago at the weekend breaking down the unit and decided lesson 1 is I'm gonna introduce first conditional, and this is what I'm going to do. Lesson 2, I'm gonna be doing will and may. Tomorrow I may have pizza for lunch. Lesson 3, and then I've got, you know, the different slides for the unit. One section that I always have is vocabulary. I like to recycle vocabulary with the students. So this section is here. And something really cool that you can do with Google Slides, here is the vocabulary from the course book. At the end of the course book, there's a vocabulary unit. So I cut out the page and I paste it here so that for unit 9, well, this is the language in the book that I want the students to learn. But you see, vocabulary is slide 63. You can see it here. So what you can do, I go here and vocabulary review and a student's photos, for me, is a section that's always on my presentations, because the students are always sending me photos of different things, what they're doing, what they did, what they're going to do, their favorite object. And vocabulary is something that I do every single lesson. We revise vocabulary. So what I do, I highlight vocabulary review here. I go to hyperlink, which is here, insert link, and I'm gonna link it to the slide where I'm doing the vocabulary, which is 62, and I say apply. So if I come to this slide and I want to revise vocabulary, I just go like this, and well, it should take me to 62, or it's 63. Okay, that's good, that's a good test. So I come here, I say no, I delete the link, and I say is slide 63. So I highlight it, I insert link, I say slides, and I say I'm gonna link it to slide 63, which is where I start the vocabulary section. So, and I can start here. Obviously, I can link anything I want here. For example, this is the listening in the book, which is 35, slide 35, as you can see. So if I want, I can go here and say the listening, which will be next Monday, I'm gonna link it to slide 35. So for me, this is like the index, and I just go to the listening. Yeah, it's a nice way when you've got a long presentation and you've got sections. I wouldn't do this for individual slides, obviously, but for a vocabulary section or for a longer activity, it could be useful. Another thing that I like to do, like I said before, this is here, you can share it. And I'm going to share it. It says people with James. So I write James' email address, and I can say, hi, James. Here it is, and I can send it to him. And he will get the message. But when I share it, I can share it with Amy, for example, and I can decide here if she can edit, comment, or view. Sometimes you don't want people to change the presentation, so you would say view. You can look at it, but you're not able to change anything, or you can make comments, or you can edit it. If you can write again a message here I find this useful because what I do when I've got a presentation like this, I usually share it with the teachers at St. James who are teaching the same level. And that's a nice way to share materials. I can also send them a message. If I go to File and I say Email Collaborators, I can send a message to Amy and James and to the people I'm sharing the presentation with, or only to some of them. I say, well, I'm gonna send a message only to Amy, yeah? So that's also cool. Another thing that's cool about this, if you want different people to work together on a presentation, you can create it, you can share it, you can give everybody the power to edit, and everybody can work on the presentation at the same time. So people will be making their own changes, and you can see there's a history option. You can see who has done what if you want. So it could be like a collaborative tool. This could be useful also for students. You could create a presentation, share it with the students, and the students together, they work on the same piece of work, which could be useful when, for example, writing a story or correcting a text. You can share it with different students and they can work together on this. One thing also that I want to show you, this is my lesson for today, the 15th of April, yes? And when I finish my lesson at 5:30, I say, okay, my next lesson will be on Monday, the 20th, next Monday. So I don't start from scratch. What I do, I've got two options. I can either come to the top here and say, okay, I've done this lesson. This is 5:30 this afternoon. So I can change the date and say, okay, this will be now my lesson for next Monday, the 20th, and I can start making changes here. How can I make changes? I can click on a slide and delete it. If I don't want to delete it, but I've done it today, one thing, you can click on a slide, you can right click, and you can say skip slide. So for example, okay, I've done those today. So on Monday, I don't want to do those slides, but I don't want to delete them either. So when you do the presentation, they won't show, yeah, the slides that you've hidden. They're still there, but they're not gonna show when you do the presentation. And of course, you can rescue them and say, yes, now maybe I want to use them again to revise in a couple of weeks. So you can change the date and start working on your next lesson's presentation, or this is today's, I don't want to get this wrong. What you can do, and something that I do a lot, is like I make a copy of the presentation. I copy the whole presentation so that I save today's presentation, and I also have a new copy which will be the presentation for next Monday. So how do you do that? You go to File, you go to Make a Copy, and you can copy the whole presentation or certain slides. I'm gonna show you what I did the other day. Like I said, I'm introducing first conditional. I started on Monday, and I wanted to share that with the teachers at St. James who are teaching this level. But I didn't want to share the whole thing because I've got things that I feel are more for me, and I don't know if they will be helpful for them. So I selected the slides which I used to introduce first conditional. So I selected, press Control and choose. So I'm selecting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 slides. Yes, I've chosen 7 slides by clicking and pressing Control at the same time. I go to File, I go to Make a Copy and say, the entire presentation? No, selected slides. I just want to make a copy of those. And I say first conditional. And I say, okay. So now I'm making a copy of those slides only. And I will share this with my teacher. So I say, I will go to share. I will enter their email addresses here and write a message saying, these are the slides that I use for first conditional. And they will get this presentation with only those slides. Or like I said, you can go to file, make a copy and say entire presentation. And what I do, I say it's not a copy. I give it the new date. So this will be the lesson for my junior pre-key level on the 20th of April, which will be next Monday. And I say, okay. And it's making a copy of the whole presentation. I'm going to use this copy to play around with it so that I don't change my presentation for today. So I'm going to close my presentation for today, and I'm going to continue working on this one, which is the same one, but I will not need it. One thing that I've got here is that a tool that I use all the time is snipping tool or herramienta de corte. It's a tool that lets you cut out parts of the screen, and I'll show you how I do this. This is my course book for this level. And I'm doing unit 10. So for example, when I introduced first conditional, I wanted to use this picture at the bottom, but only the picture. So you make it bigger. And then I find my tool, my herramienta de corte. I say new, and I just cut it out. I said, this is what I want. I go to my presentation. To introduce a new slide, you can either right click and say new slide, or you can come here and click on the plus sign and you get a new one. So, and now right click and paste, and you've got your picture here. I'm gonna show you how I designed this slide. Then why do I do it like this? Because I want to show the picture first. Then I want to show the little dialogue here. So I go to my snipping tool and I cut it out. I go to my slide, right click and paste it. And like I said, one thing that I like to hide certain things so I don't give them everything at the same time. But
sorry, Borja, yeah? Sorry. There are a lot of people in the chat saying they can't see the snipping tool because obviously you're sharing, when you share a screen on Zoom, you're only sharing that screen. You're not sharing anything else. But just so they know that at the bottom of your, if you're using a PC, at the bottom left, you have a window. And if you type in the window snipping tool, or in Spanish, recorte, it'll show up. But also, it's in the Windows accessories file if you click on the Windows key button at the bottom right, okay?
Thank you very much, James.
And on a Mac, I don't know because I don't use a Mac. So look on the Apple thing. They must have something. They can't be that far behind Microsoft. Sorry.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, obviously the important thing is that you know that there is a snipping tool or herramienta de corte. I use it a lot, and you will find it because it's very common, yeah. And like I said, you can cut out pieces of the screen or lots of things. Anyway, I've got the picture and the text. But if I go to presentation, I get everything at the same time, and I don't want that. I want the picture first and then the text, the dialogue. So I click on the dialogue, I right click, and I say animate. And here it says fade in. Good. It means that it will come onto the slide. That's what I want. When I click, yes, on click, you've got different options. On click, after previous, or with previous. Right now, we're gonna do it on click. So when I click, it will come onto the slide. So if I go to presentation now, I've got the picture. I can elicit from the students what's going on. I can look at the notice. What does it mean? Look at the farmer. And then when I click, I get the dialogue, which is good. But I want to hide some things here. So what I do, I go to insert here. Can you see it at the top? Below the title, insert, shape. And I use this shape, the rectangle. And I say open. I want to hide it. I want the students to guess what's there. So I've got the shape. I click on it and I've got different options. I don't like that color, so I come to the bucket and I say, I want it a little bit blue. Okay, and I want to number it. I think it's very important to number it so I can say, what do you think number 1 is? So I number it. I write number 1, I'm gonna center it, and I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. Good, yeah, so I've got number 1. And I want to hide this part here. So I click on it, right click, copy, paste, drag it here and make it, I want to make it bigger this way. So I just go like this. And I want to number it 2, let's see. You can always go back here, which is great. Yeah, you can, number 2. But what happens if I go to presentation? That's what happens. Maybe that's what I want. But I can also highlight number 1 and right click, animate, and instead of fading in, I want it to fade out. I want it to disappear. So I right click and I say fade out. Right click, animate, fade out. Let's see what happens. Sometimes, hey, I have to play with this. Oh, one thing that I have to do, you'll see what happens. You get the whole thing and it comes out. Why? Because this one, it says it fades in. If I open the box here, it says on click, and I say on click, no, with previous. And this one, number 2, here, the first time, I want it to fade in with previous, because otherwise I get the dialogue first and then the boxes, and it's not gonna hide anything. So I've got the picture, and then I click and I get everything at the same time. I elicit from the students, what do you think number 1 is? What do you think number 2 is? Then I click and this disappears and this disappears. This is a question of playing around with it. The important thing, what you need to know is that you can, anything on the slide, you can click on it, you can right click, animate, and it's here. And you can make it come onto the slide. You can make it fly out. You can do it on a click with the previous or after the previous. It can come up quicker or more slowly. And also you can change the order here, which is very important, yeah? Sometimes if things don't come in or out the way you want it, you can just move them and now everything will be a mess, yeah? But you say, oh, no, the picture first. So the picture goes to the top. Then the text, I click on the text. Yes, it's after the picture. Then number one, yes, yeah. So you can play with those things as well. As you can see, this bar here, well, you have options that, again, you can play with the different options. It's more like editing text, like Word or another program like that. For the slide, you can change the background. You can change the color if you want. I personally like it white. I like it kind of simple, big pictures, not too much text, and kind of plain a little bit. You can change the layout as well, depending on whether you've got a big title, text. You can just play with that. You can change the theme if you want to be fancy. For example, let's do it on this one. This is a white one. You go to theme and you can, well, choose the one you like. Remember, you've got the undo button here, which is very important. You go back and you go back, and it'll undo what you've done. The transitions is what we said before. Another important thing is you can add a comment. For example, this is maybe for you as a reminder, or maybe for other people who have access to the presentation. So you can write a comment. For example, this went well, and it's a comment. So when people get to this slide, they can see my comment. It could be anything. Please add 2 more pictures or whatever. And you can resolve it. Say, okay, I've done it. I've seen the comment. I'm done with it. You can edit it. I can delete it. I can edit it and save it. I'm gonna delete it for now. So you have the option of adding comments on the different slides. More things that you can do here. Let me see. I've got the list of things that I want to share with you. Yes, very important. How to insert an image. Like I said, I use the snipping tool a lot. To insert an image, insert is here. You've got file, edit, view, insert. This is something that I use a lot. You can use an image from the computer, from your computer, from the web, from the drive, from if you have a link, or from your camera. So to insert an image, you just go here, for example, from my computer, I go to my desktop, and I want to, for example, this one. So this is my image, yeah. Obviously, it's an image. So here I've got the option to crop it if I want. And other things that you can do with it. Sometimes what I do, I want to make, if you want to make a copy of this, the quickest way to do is you click Control on your keyboard and then you drag it. Yeah, and you have as many copies as you want. It's a nice way to have different pictures. But let's say we have these 3. And you want them in a line. You want the presentation to look nice. And sometimes with Google Slides, it's not that difficult, because when you move this picture, can you see the red lines? It tells you when it's aligned, which is really good. Super useful. Okay, yeah. But let's say we have them like this. What you can do, you click on this one, you press Control on your keyboard, and you click on another one, and you have the 3 kind of together. You put your cursor here, you right click, and you say align. I want to align the 3 pictures, let's say on the left. Good. I want the same distance between the first and the second and the third. So I right click and I say distribute vertically. So now they're in line and with the same space between them, which I really like it. If you want to move them together, you click on this one, you press Control on your keyboard, you click on this one, and now you can move them together as a block, which is useful. Okay. Matching exercises. Sometimes you have pictures and you have text and you want the students to yeah, for example, you have 3 words and 3 definitions, for example, and you want them to match them up. I press Control and I drag it and I make copies. And here I've got my text too. For example, another definition and another definition. Yeah, so you have 3 words and 3 definitions. And you want the students to match them up. Well, what I usually do, I have something like this. I usually introduce one at a time. That's how I like to do it. I introduce one word, another word, right click, animate, the first definition, the second definition, and the third definition. So I can go something like, oh, look at this word. What is it? What about this one? What about this one? Okay, look at its definition. Which one is it? Or you can show the whole thing at once. Then I insert lines and I go to arrow and I go, okay, this word goes with this definition. And I click on this, I right click and then animate. I can either copy this one or insert a new one. So this word goes with this definition, for example. You click here. And then insert line, arrow, this goes with this one. I'm gonna animate this one and I'm going to animate this one and see what happens. First word, what does it mean? What do you think? Second, third, then the definitions or the text. And then I say, so number one, you usually number the words and you write letters for each of the definitions so the students can say things like, number one is B or number two is A, and they can write the answers in the chat. And then you show them the arrows one at a time. Yeah, so to do matching exercises. Okay. Let me check my list. Yes, a very useful thing, very, very useful for me. For example, I want to do this and I want to do another matching exercise with different words and different text. So I've got this slide. I don't open a blank one like this. No, because then it's, oh my God, I need to start from the beginning. So what I do, I click on this one, I right click and I say duplicate this one. So I duplicate this one. And what I do, I change this, and the text. But at least I've got the structure for the slide and I don't have to introduce everything. I can move things around, but copying, duplicating a slide is very useful. This is what I did for all these slides. I didn't start from the beginning. I did the first one, then I made a copy. As you can see, I've got 2. So I kept the first one, and here is where I changed the picture and this text, but the animations are the same, so things will appear the same way. So I don't have to insert the picture, animate the picture, introduce the text, and animate everything. So copying slides is very useful when it's a repetitive kind of activity. How do I use the hiding things? This is another exercise that I will do today. We're looking at first conditional. This is from the book. I went to the book with the snipping tool. I copied that exercise, and we'll have a look at the first one together, and then I will show, okay, now what about this one? What about number 2? I will give them a little bit of time. We will check it together. And then number 3 and number 4. I feel it's much easier for me to do it like this than I can make a copy of this, duplicate the slide. Oh, it wasn't this one, it was this one. I can duplicate this one. If I want to get rid of, yeah, for me, it's not the same to do it like this. Okay, you get everything at once, and it's very difficult to concentrate. Whereas if you do it like this, obviously the students pay more attention to each of them one at a time. Yes. How to insert a video, that's important as well. Like I said, I'm asking my students to make videos for homework. For example, talk about your favorite thing, or talk about your daily routine, but make a video or take pictures. And what I did here, gonna copy this, I'm gonna get rid of this, and I'm gonna show it. So again, insert, as you can see, insert is a very important button here. Insert, image, no. Text box, no. Audio, no. Video. And if you were in my session the other day, you saw the food video. I think it was on page 3. Which is this one, a song that I like for, remember the song?
Little Smart Planet.
Yes, very nice. So you copy the address here, and you come to your slide. Well, let's start. You open your video, you copy the address, you go to your slide, you go to insert video, paste, find, highlight it, and select it. And here it is. With this video, you can do several things that I think are important. You can play. You don't have to go to the presentation.
Little Smart Planet.
And you can pause pressing the K button on your keyboard. So you're playing.
Presents.
I'm not touching anything. I'm pressing K on my keyboard. I like this because sometimes this button gets hidden by some things that come up here, and I find it really annoying. And I don't have access to this play or pause. By pressing the keyboard is very simple. For example, you know, this box here, if this were bigger, let's see if I can get it wrong on purpose now. There you are. I want to pause, but I don't have access to that. And I want to pause, but I press K.
Little Smart Planet presents.
And I can do it much easily. If I press F, it should go to full screen. Yeah, only by pressing F on your keyboard, and then escape. Another thing, another useful thing is if you press W on your keyboard, you get a white screen. If you press B, you get a black screen. So you can choose. Yeah, this is useful not only for videos, but you show the picture and you, oops, okay, what do you see? Oh, and the only thing I have to do is press W on the keyboard to show and to hide. Very useful for pictures for any age group, or if you have a text, I don't know, for example, here you want to hide it. You show, and then you say, okay, what was number one? What was number two? Lots of hiding just by pressing W or B on your keyboard. Another thing that I like to do is matching exercises that I showed the other day. This is from this website. It's nothing special. It's first conditional. You have to match the beginning to the end kind of thing. Yeah, so you have the ends and the beginnings. So what I did, I copied the endings. I'm gonna do it again so that you can see. New slide. And this here, I've got the endings of some sentences. I make it a little bit bigger. I highlighted. 12 is too small. Okay, maybe it's a bit too big. Perfect. So here I have the ending. You won't feel lonely. So I go to the beginnings. I want to highlight the beginnings, copy, paste, but I don't want to paste it on the same slide. I want to paste it on a different slide. And again, I make it a little bit bigger. I think it was 18. And this is an activity I'm going to do with my students today. We're going to revise first conditional with pictures, and then I'll say, okay, you'll pass your exam. Can you think of a sentence beginning with if you'll pass the exam? Obviously, I'm starting with a very simple sentence so that they get the point, and I will elicit different possibilities from the students. Yes, if you study, you'll pass your exam. If you listen to the teacher, wherever. Another sentence, if you won't feel lonely. If you're nice to your friends, you won't feel lonely, and wherever you got it. And then I show them the beginning. If you put the light on, can you remember one of the sentences here that could go together? Like if you put the light on, and again, the students, I'll see if they remember. It could be, if you put the light on, you'll see better. If you turn on the light. If you turn on the electric heater, and again, they have to remember. This is a matching exercise that instead of giving them the whole thing, first of all, I elicit one at a time, more creative. They will make mistakes, which is wonderful, so that I can correct them and we can get it right. So by the time we've done 3 or 4, they will get the sentences right. And then we will play this little game. And let's see if they can remember all of them. And then they will write the sentences in the notebook. First, orally, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, and then, okay, now write the sentence in your notebook. I'll give them either the beginning or the ending, and they will write the sentences in their notebook. Maybe not all of them, maybe 4 or 6. But how do you do it so that this, when you go to presentation mode, you get one at a time and you don't get the whole thing, because here I get the whole thing. This is the one I've just done for you. So what you do, you highlight the whole box, you right click, you go to animate, but can you see this little box here that says by paragraph? Very important. You click on this, and when you go to presentation, you will get it one at a time. So if you copy a text or several sentences in different lines, if you animate it and you say by paragraph, you will get one line at a time. And this, you can reverse it anytime you want. I say, no, I want the whole thing. I unclick this and I say, now I will get the whole block. Let me check my notes, interesting things that I want to share with you. But hyperlink, yeah, remember the hyperlink. If you want to link whatever you want to link, for example, writing the story, I want to link it to my slide, which is writing the story, which will be this one, yeah, 46. So I go to my index here and say writing the story, link it to 46. I think I said 46, right? Yes, applied. So I go to writing the story and here. How am I gonna do this? This is from the book. This is in the unit, and this is the story in the book. Yeah, they give you the story here with some mistakes that you have to do, like an example, and then they give you pictures, some questions, and then the students have to write this story. So what I've done, I looked at this story. There's no picture. So what I did is like, okay, look at the picture. Sorry, this one. What's going on? Who are they? What do you think is happening? How are they feeling? What month is it? What time of day is it? Where are they? And then, okay, can you make sentences using those words? Obviously, words from the story. Can you make up a story? You know, not perfectly, but a little bit of a story. Okay, maybe write a story using these words. I wouldn't maybe ask them to write it yet. Maybe I would ask them to write some sentences. I wouldn't get into linkers yet and things like that. And then this is the story, and I will, this is the story from the book. Yeah, this is story. But I put it into sentences. So we will have a look at each of them, and now they have to put them in order. Yeah, this is the story, but they have to put it in order, the sentence, that it makes sense. And here, yes, we will look at more but, so, linkers, and then this is the story in order, the questions, and then we will look at each of the pictures. This is where they will have to write their own story, but we will look at the first picture first. What can you see? What are they doing? How are they feeling? The same thing, the same thing. Look at the sentences and then tell the story. And for homework, they will write the story. Yeah. So this is how I present this page. And like I said, and this for me will be Monday next week. Yeah, so that day, Monday, I will be working on the story. I will, if I'm teaching an hour and a half, I will spend at least 45 minutes, 50 minutes working around the story. And I will use the rest of the time to recycle first conditional, recycle vocabulary. How are you feeling today? Checking homework, giving homework, and those things. And James, do we have any questions that we could answer now?
Yes, we do. Sorry. We have from yes, we have a question about how do you make a template. This was from Mandy. Our friend
Thank
Mandy
you.
Muggleson asked us this one.
Okay, that's a really good question, and I'm gonna show you quickly. At least get you started. You go to a new presentation, and you can open, let's open a new one. Here, options that I have that I like. I don't like this shape. I think it's too wide. So you go to File, and you go to Page Setup, and you choose the one you want. I like the standard, which is a little bit more square, but you can have your own. Another one that could work out well is you go to Custom, and I wrote it down here. It's 11 by 8.5. It depends. So you can do this. Another thing that you want to do, if you want your logo, for example, to come up on all the slides, you go to View and you go to Master. That's the master slide. And here I say, I click on the master and I say Insert Image, my logo, our logo. I love our new logo. Do you like our new logo? It's like St. James, but teaching online. That's what we're doing, aren't we? So on my master, I've got the logo, and I can decide this. I want it a little bit bigger. The title, always on all the slides, I want it a little bit bigger, and I want it dark blue, matching our colors. And the first level here, I want it in black, and I want it 24, a little bit bigger. You could continue. Here is where you make the decisions. How do you want your slides to look? And then you go to your slide, and this is dark blue and your logo. And when you insert a new slide, like you go to click, you've got the logo as well. You can follow the same steps to add lines or the template you want. You've got here themes that you can use. And when you go to View, Master, again, you can make the decisions here on how do you want it to look. For me, to be honest, I'm very simple. Like I said, this is my master. I like it white, I like it simple, and I like the logo. And I get rid of the logo sometimes if I want to show a big picture or a video. Sometimes I get rid of the logo because I don't want to interfere with the rest of the slide. Anything else?
Yeah, somebody commented about maybe instead of a white background, maybe a pastel colored background.
Absolutely. And James, can you tell them about your own experience with blue?
Yeah, I prefer to have a light blue background. I find white to be really tiring for my eyes. So my master slide has a background that's a light blue. That's a bit dark. The next lighter one, something. Wow, that's gray, but yeah, fine.
Yeah. So you would have to, if you do this, as you can see, if you open a new slide, it's white because this is not a master. You would have to go to View, Master, and change the background here to this light blue. Say Done. And now anytime you open a new slide, it will keep that format. So it saves you a lot of time. Some teachers also, what they do, they change the background depending on what they're doing. Some teachers, for example, they say, for me, grammar is green. And every time I do a grammar explanation or grammar exercises, it's a green background. If it's vocabulary, it's blue. I don't do it, but sometimes I've thought that maybe it would be nice, but I haven't done it yet. More questions?
Okay. Yeah, Albany 34. Sorry, don't know your name.
Hi,
just know
Albany
your-
34.
They were asking about duplicating slides, etc. And one
Yes.
thing is how do you move a picture if you wanna move a picture behind
Oh,
the
yes.
solid thing?
Thank you.
That's important to know.
Very important. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Albany 34. If you want to copy a slide, duplicate, for example, this one. Yeah. Well, this is already double, so we don't want to. This one. You click on the slide, you right click, and you say duplicate, and that's it. And you have the two
Okay.
slides. And yes, to move things, sorry, here, for example, you can see that you have the text behind the picture. If you want it the other way around, you click on the picture, you right click, let's say, you right click and it says order, and you say send to back, and now you have the text in front of the picture. Sometimes you want to have some, like a letter here or a number of a word, and again you right click here on the text. You want the text behind because you want to hide it, for example. Yeah, you want to hide this text behind because it's the answer. So you right click, you say order, you send to back, and now you have the text behind. Yes? More questions?
Okay, yes. Another question was your really cool thing about inserting from a course book the audio. How did you do that?
James, you can answer that.
Okay, well, to be able to, there are two ways to do it. One, if you have the course book downloaded into your computer, you can just search for it. Yeah. For example, we use Kidsbox. So if you have the software downloaded onto your computer, you just go and into the Cambridge folder, which would be you go to Programs folder, look for the Cambridge folder, look for Kidsbox, and then there's a file called Resources, and you'll see that there's within the resources, one of them's an audio file, and you really have to kind of go looking for it. The other thing you can do is if you use Google Chrome, there's you can add an add-in called Open Chrome Audio Capture. Yeah, and it's a Chrome audio capture. You download it, and then you could actually play the audio if it's online, capture it, and then with that file, you insert it into your presentation. Maybe we'll make a video to show that because it sounds really complicated.
But it's really cool because I used it last week and I didn't know how to use it. James did it for me. And this is what you can do. You have the slide. This was a song. And I have here the button. And this is great because you don't have to get out of the presentation.
The elephants drank.
Remember the song?
The parrots flew.
And you can pause and you can play.
The dolphins swam.
It is handy if you can have the listening on the slide. We're running out of time. I know people are really busy. What we can do, this video will be on our Facebook this afternoon or tomorrow morning, and you will be able to get the link on our Facebook. Please leave us a message and tell us what sessions you would like to get, and we'll see if we can plan more lessons for you, because the idea obviously is to help you as much as we can. But first, we need to know what kind of questions or what kind of things you would like to do when teaching online. I'm going to go back to you. I want to see all of you, and I hope you enjoyed the session. You've got my email address. You can get in touch with us through Facebook if you have any particular questions. But this is about playing around with it. There's no other way. I wanted to show you how to get it started. I wanted to show you my lesson plan, the kind of things that for me are simple enough to do and very effective. But the best way is for you to open a new presentation and start playing with it. And there are loads of options. When I started, I was able to do only a few things. And now, obviously, I'm more familiar with the hyperlink and inserting videos and posting the video. There are also good tutorials on the internet. Let's face it, you know, you go to Google Slides tutorial and you get nice videos. Or if you want to be able to do something in particular, type in Google Slides, inserting videos or whatever you're looking for. And I'm sure you will find a nice tutorial that explains to you, well, how to do that, yeah? Thank you very much. I haven't even had time to look at the chat. I'm sorry. That's why I had James helping me, because lots of questions. I will have a look later. I will save the chat because I love seeing you out there. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Mandy. Teresa. So many people. Marla was there before. Michelle. Hello, everybody. Colin, Amy, Lisa, Chris. So many people. Veronica. Wonderful. Lovely to see you. Have a good week. We still have a few weeks ahead of us, so let's see. We'll get through this together, yeah?
When are you going to do another session, Borja? They're asking.
Oh, they're asking another session. Well, I want to get your comments on our Facebook. I want to see how you're feeling. I've done 3 sessions so far, yeah? How to engage the students as much as we can so that when they're in front of the computer, they've got something to do, something to think about, something to write. I've done more or less what I wanted to do now, you know, how to use the tool to engage your students. Now there are many options. I know, Teresa, you've done something on phonology this morning, yes? Hopefully I will be able to see your video. But tell us, you know, what are you looking for? And obviously we'll see if we can plan a lesson, a session for you guys. But go onto our Facebook and keep in touch with us, okay? Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Chat guardado. Hi, Veronica. Hi, Karen.